Hi, Sherry. Good morning. Whoops. How are you today? I'm doing okay. I thought I might color on something a little bit different today. Yeah, I like the nostalgia of the Volkswagen bus. Not my favorite style of illustration. I'm not really into I don't know even know what it's called, Zen or whatever. I'm not really into all that, but I figure we do something different. Let me see here. I don't think we'll work on anything more than the bus today. So that's probably going to be okay about like that. I would like to have one. I did have a pretty cool Dodge van that was it ended up being a pretty nice van after I worked on it. I may have to go with a darker yellow, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's what I would like to do too. Well, I don't really know what color I want to use in any particular spot, so I'm just going to just start adding some colors. I was going to do a mandala this morning, but or I was going to start a mandala, not do one, but start one. But then I decided I would go to one of these books. This is one of the first books that I bought. I bought a set of three, and there's no information in it about a publisher or an illustrator, nothing like that. And I bought a set of three. One of them is mandalas. I did a couple of those. My very first live streams, not in this book, but in one of the books of this set.
We believe that technology adoption is critical to driving productivity and keeping your mobile workforce in motion. Modus mileage capture technologies make the administrative tasks of your mobile workers less burdensome and time consuming. Our mobile cloud-based platform automates mileage capture, mileage submission, route planning and optimization, all of which seamlessly integrate with vehicle reimbursement, personal use of fleet vehicles, time and activity management, T&E expenses, and CRM entries.
Now, these kind of pictures are so
To
tedious,
eliminate administrative tasks and ensure accuracy, Modus self-populates location names and addresses, automatically calculates mileage and applies
but I like working on the details.
IRS compliant daily mileage logs for each of your drivers. We offer both native and web-based mobile applications for use on employees' personal or company-provided mobile devices. For those employees who do not have up-to-date mobile technology, Modus can provide a dedicated smart device with GPS mileage capture technology.
Yeah, there was no information on these other than, well, let me show you what the front of the book looks like. And there was a set of three, but the only text, it just talks about, it just says, warning, it is recommended to use colored pencils, gel pens, crayons, and markers when coloring. Please put a blank paper at the back when using heavy color pens. Watercolor pens are not recommended. And that's it. Doesn't tell me anything else. There's no other information in here. Here, we'll flip through this right quick until we at least get back to the page I'm working on. I know Stacy would probably like that because she likes sugar skulls. And see, I think a picture like this would be really hard for me because it's like too plain almost. There's so much white that has to be filled in. It's like, because I mean, the line work doesn't add texture, I guess is what it is. So I have to be able to try to add my own texture, and I'm not very good at that. So most of these I probably will not end up coloring, but who knows? Over a period of time, periodically, we may do a page or two. See, I really don't see me coloring something with somebody standing in it like that. Some of the pictures are kind of cool. It's just not necessarily my style, but I kind of like the element of it. This is kind of cool with this swinging chair. Yeah, I think those were my two favorites so far also. The one with the hot air balloons. I think that was so far this one. And yeah, the one with the chair. Those are my favorite so far. Well, and the one that I'm working on. Yeah, that one. See, I just don't see me coloring something like this. And even this one, if it didn't have the VW bus in it, I probably wouldn't have an interest in color in that one either. Let's see, what is this? Oh, oh, well. All right, that's the last page in this book. So now we can go back over here. It's always hard to get the zoom to work right. That's about good. Yeah, I think that's going to be right there. I shouldn't have to move it. Now, hopefully, I can do this without having to turn the page, or I mean, turn the book, rotate it, because that's going to move it off camera. Trying to find the right position where I can actually reach what I'm doing.
Hurry into the Nissan Now sales event to save on an award-winning new Nissan, like the all-new Kicks and Murano, J.D. Power's most dependable small and mid-size SUVs, and our best-selling Rogue at the Nissan Now sales event.
Now, one thing about this, the colors don't have to make a lot of sense necessarily, which is kind of cool. I can just grab a pencil and just put that color anywhere I want it. Okay, that's awesome. I've been looking at that next one, but I have not decided on colors yet. Now, are you using somewhat of that kind of like the same colors that I'm going to use, or are you just doing your own thing? Because I didn't list colors. Okay. I kind of figured that people would prefer to do that anyway, as opposed to just trying to copy the same colors, unless it's something like we did before. Well, however you want to do it. Now, when I do stuff like this, I really can't imagine Bob Ross telling me 2 hairs and some air. This almost looks a little bit Christmassy with this green and red. It's funny, but I always imagine Bob Ross getting irritated because it takes me so long to color a picture. Because he could paint a whole picture in half an hour or an hour. Well, my favorite colors are purple and black and like a lime green, like a fluorescent lime green. Those 3 colors. So when you see like a bus like this, what's kind of like the first thing that pops into your mind?
All these deals are so good, you won't believe the prices. Does that to be a joke? It's no joke. All these bargain outlets sells famous brand name merchandise at up to 70% off the fancy store prices. Hurry in.
The Partridge Family. That's always the first thought that comes to my head is the Partridge Family. And the Partridge Family didn't even have this kind of bus, but it's still the first thing I always think of. It always reminds me of the Partridge Family. Now, like I said, the colors don't really have to make sense, and that's a good thing. Oh, I was just thinking, Sherry, you could probably do like instead of do like what's called a color along, do what's called a color beforehand, because you can have that page done long before I do. Let me see. I'm just looking for colors. Okay. Well, I am one that probably agrees with that, at least to some extent.
See where no one has before. Adventure on with Sylvania LED off-road lights. When marketers fail to personalize their marketing, the result is the customer. This customer is filled with high-value customers with untapped buying potential. I could potentially buy more. With MailChimp, you can personalize every message using email and SMS for your most valuable customers. Sold. Intuit MailChimp, the #1 AI-powered email marketing automation platform, now with SMS.
Everyone recommends SkinCeuticals while I tell you about Silly Marancia. If you've heard that vitamin C causes acne breakouts,
I had my older brother
Marancia reduces what can happen when
was
directly acts with
a painter,
breakouts.
painting cars and stuff like that.
Pure vitamin C to protect against
Uh, Not at the professional level, but when he was young. In fact, we used to remodel cars, the interiors, and then he'd paint them. And he worked at a boat trailer manufacturing company where he run the paint booth. He did welding and ran the paint booth. And I did the assembly. Hi, Thomas. How are you this morning? That's a very good point, Thomas. I had one of my neighbors come over here yesterday, knock on my door, wanted to know if I would give them a ride to the store. I don't own a vehicle, so I could not do that. But he asked me how I like living here. And I told him that although I do not like living next door to a barking dog, I am grateful to have a roof over my head. So it's all about perspective. Oh, that's awesome, Sherry. This, Thomas, let me zoom back out a little bit so you can see what's happening here. It's a cool van, ain't it? Let me zoom back out here, Thomas, so you can see what we got going on here. This is a book. When I first decided I was going to do coloring so I could live stream it, I bought a set of 3 books from Amazon. I bought a set of 3 books, and it was like $13 for the set of 3 books. But there's nothing that tells us who the illustrator is, who the publisher is, no information. It was just 3 books, all this style. Oh, one book was different animals. Let me get the other books right quick just to show you. So I actually was going to do this picture this morning, the mandala. I was going to do this one. It's in one of the same books. And it is simply a book of mandalas. It's in this book of mandalas. And actually my very first, I did a Mickey Mouse in the Mickey Mouse book. And then I did this one. So this was my very first coloring page live stream. And I tried to do a background. My very first attempt at a background, we can see it failed. But I'm going to do another one down here on the bottom. I'm going to do another background down here so we can see the improvement before and after. So I did that one, and then I did another one. This one was really fun. We're going to do another one like this one day. I'm not sure exactly when, but let me find this other one. This one. I got to fix something right quick, guys. I got this cord hanging down in my way. I need to wrap it up. I didn't wrap it around this thing, and it's hanging down, bothering me. It gets in my way every time I try to turn the page or anything. There we go. Now, this one right here, the way I did this one was I had people in chat pick a color number, and then I would just use the corresponding pencil color. So this one, all the colors were randomly selected by people in chat. And that was a lot of fun to do. So we'll do another one like this one these days. But that's that one. These are all mandalas. And then, of course, I've got the other book, Sherry, that you have. That's mandalas. And then this one, these are all animals in the same, they're the same style, but they're all animals. It's hard to even see what that is exactly. I'm not even sure. I guess it's a lion. But anyway, it's all animals, a koala, all the same style. And this is kind of the same style. This one's not so much that same style, but. And there may be a couple other pages in this book that we do, but for the most part, I won't be doing these books. I just ordered them because they were inexpensive. There were 3 books, and I would be able to live stream it. But once I got them, I realized they really weren't what I was looking for. But the mandala, like I said, that mandala was fun, the one that we did. You're right, Thomas. That was a lion. I had to look at it for a second for me to kind of figure it out, because I don't do well with this. I don't even know what this style is called. I kind of refer to it like a Zen, but I don't exactly know what it's called. Now, Thomas, if you have any pictures that you've colored, you can email me a couple of those. The channel email address is on the description page. And if you'll send me a couple of pictures, if you have any that you've colored, I'll post them on the community page so everybody else can see too. Yes, Sherry, I thought Zen Doodle. Okay. I figured Zen. Dee Dee, good morning. Oh, okay. Well, I just know it's not my favorite to color, but we're going to color it today. Now, today I am using my Color 300 pencil set. And as I sit here and I look at them, I'm like, okay, I'm running out of colors. I've only used like what, 5 colors so far, and I'm already beginning to feel like I'm running out of colors. It is funny. I don't know why that is, but it's because like I see colors green, red, blue, orange, yellow, brown. I don't see 30 shades of brown, 30 shades of blue. I see blue. So I have to realize that's a different color, even though it's still blue, it's a different shade of blue. So yeah, that part of it's difficult for me. So I'm always thinking, okay, that color doesn't work with that color. I shouldn't put that color right beside that color. But like you were pointing out, Sherry, the car painter says, well, any color works. And you know what else is funny? I can be like at the beginning, I can say, you know, this is one of these images, these illustrations, where it doesn't matter what color you use. You could just use any old color. And then I'm concerned about color. Now, what would be kind of fun, I think maybe, would be to color a picture like this, not necessarily a mandala, but to color a picture that's something more like this and let chat pick the colors. So you predetermine what color you want to use and you lay them all out ahead of time. Okay. Well, mine are kind of like that too. I'll show you. Look, I'm just going to turn my camera, hopefully. But you see, I got all my pencils, and then I have all my pencils just laying over. They're just sitting right here, so I can see all of them. The ones I use, I just leave laying on my table. Now let me see if I can get us back focused over here. I need to clean the screen off on this camera phone. Lots of fingerprints. Oh, okay. I don't plan out my colors either. I've wanted to, but it doesn't work out. Now sometimes like if I know I'm using the greens, I'll go ahead and get my favorite greens that I use. I'll get them out, or I might get the yellows, oranges, depending on what I'm using. I might get a few of those out simply because I know which ones I want. But most of the time, I don't know which ones I want. Now, I am using some pencils today, guys, that I haven't used before. So I'm having to sharpen them for the first time. And it used to be, when I first started doing this, when I would sharpen a pencil for the first time, I would swatch it. I gave up on that a long time ago. So I probably only have about half of these 300 pencils swatched. I didn't swatch any of my, well, I did swatch some of the Prismacolor, but not that many. No, wait a minute. No, I didn't either. I didn't swatch any of the Prismacolor. Well, I do that too, Thomas, in a way, but sometimes I actually like using more than three, like the light, medium, and dark. I actually like to go 4 and 5 different colors. Tani, hi, how are you? Thomas, did you see the sunflowers I just colored? Hi, Gay. I didn't even see you come in. Oh, I can't hardly see that one. Well, you snuck in while I was looking at this page. How are you, Gay? I was just thinking about you earlier. All right, good. Yeah, Tanid, I was asking Sherry earlier, what's the first thing that comes to her mind when she sees a Volkswagen bus like this? Scooby Doo is one of them for me, but the first one is always the Partridge Family. And Sherry said the Partridge Family is one of the things she first thinks of. But yeah, Scooby Doo is the other one for me. Scooby Doo and the Partridge Family. I think Scooby Doo is probably would be ranked number one as the first thing people think of because Scooby Doo did have a Volkswagen bus, or well, I don't know that it was a Volkswagen, but it was a small van like this, opposed to like a school bus with the Partridge Family. But Scooby Doo wasn't psychedelic. The Partridge Family was. So now, Sherry, when I get through coloring this, if you want, I can send you a picture and you can forward it to your son so he can paint his van like this one. Hey, he might like it. You might show him a picture of it, and he'd be like, "That's what I was just going to do." Actually, I can't really imagine the amount of work it would take to paint a real vehicle like this. Well, that's okay, light turquoise. It won't be as fun as this one, but that's okay. Well, I may look here in a second and see if I can't find a turquoise and I'll add that. Generally, I don't even look and see what color I'm using. I don't look at it by name or like the number. I just grab a color, grab a pencil. Of course, that does not help any if you want to reorder open stock pencils. It's kind of good to know what the name of the color is. So that part's a little difficult for me. Oh, I can imagine. Like I said, my brother used to paint cars too. So I can only imagine the prep work that it would take to paint something like this using so many different colors. Oh, to me, I am using my Color, and I have the 300 pencil set. Oh, Sherry, that's awesome. Back when I was in high school, my brother bought a 1957 Ford pickup truck and he put a tilt front end on it and painted it and stuff like that. And in those days, he sold it for probably about $1,200 to a used car salesman. And the used car salesman turned around 20 minutes later and sold it for $5,000. Yeah, my brother wasn't very smart. I was like, "Where's your truck?" And he told me, and I was like, "You sold it to a used car dealer." And he turned right around and just burned you. Michelle, hi. Let me let me pull the camera back up here just so everybody can see the full picture that we're working on today. How are you doing, Michelle? Oh, I'm glad you like it. Okay, Gay, it was good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Let's see, I got to use. Sorry, guys, I had this thing on my phone telling me to orientate the camera, which it was right, but I wanted to get rid of that text that was on my screen because I have, like, my pinned message is right across my screen. It's hard for me to even see. Well, good, Michelle. Okay, now what we're going to do here is I have these pencils that Sherry sent me, and I'm going to use a couple of these on the bumper. So now I don't really know what color I'm going to use on here yet, but I do want to use a metallic. I actually was going to use the metallic colors on the whole thing because the whole van is made out of metal, but they're all dark colors. They're not really bright colors. So that's really not going to give me what I'm looking for this particular illustration. This is not Johanna Basford. There is actually no illustrator named. There's no publisher named. This was a set of 3 books that I bought, all of them in the same style, but one book was animals. Another book is mandalas. And then this book, it was a set of 3. I bought them for $13 when I decided I wanted to start doing the coloring so I could live stream. I just bought one because I got 3 books for $13, but then I wasn't very happy with them. But that's how I got it. So let's see. I want to think about a couple of different colors for the bumper. Now here's one that has a little bit of a silvery look. I have no clue what these are going to look like, guys. We'll just see. I do know they should be shiny. I know one of them I looked at before on a different picture. I actually used some of these on a mandala. Oh, okay. I've not heard of that book. I'm going to look it up right now, though. Sweet Shop. I'm going to look it up on Amazon. Is that the one? Tani. Okay, I'll bookmark it. Ooh. I'm trying to look right quick just to see if it tells me how many pages. 80 pages. Okay. That's one of the most expensive coloring books I've come across, actually. Yeah, it was like $52. That's what I said. It's the most expensive coloring book that I've seen. This I'm just going to do this one color. Oh, wow. Well, that's a discount. Yeah, I don't know if I'll spend $52 on a coloring book, but I kind of think if I was going to spend $52 on a coloring book, it better be colored. Okay, I wonder if I can accomplish something. Let's see. I want to see if I can do something here, which might be pretty cool if I can. Oh, I totally forgot to zoom back in, guys. Sorry. I forgot to zoom back in. Look at my bumper. Look at that custom bumper. Woo! Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Now let me see if I can get this gray on here and still be able to read it good. Thank you, Thomas. I know. I think Sherry's son would probably like to paint one like this because I believe he could sell it, make some good money. Yes, Thomas. That's exactly right. Awesome. I like that. I was going to try to do it smaller, make it look like a license plate, but that was going to be impossible. Now, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of these pencils I've never used before, so I'm sharpening them for the first time. And it used to be that when I sharpened a pencil for the first time, I would swatch it. But I gave up on that. So, do you guys swatch all your pencils and stuff? I think most people probably do. Okay. I think that's probably typical. I think most people probably do uh, swatch, and it probably is a good idea. Okay, so I'm the oddball. It certainly, I can say that swatching certainly helps when you want to reorder if you're ordering standalone. I just swatch like this. If I need to swatch, I swatch it on a scrap notebook. But I don't use like a swatch card. I have my swatch card for my Color, and I did do I did a bunch of them, but I didn't do all of them because I gave up on them. But like I said, what I was doing was every time I would use a color for the first time, I would sharpen it and swatch it. But as you can see, I only got down to 111, and then randomly I did some others. But so I got about half of this set swatched before I kind of gave up on it. That's a good point, Michelle. I think for me, maybe the reason I didn't mind doing the swatching necessarily, but because I was only coloring for the purpose of live streaming, I think I just kind of got to where I would rather just color the picture itself. Because that's the only reason I started coloring, because it was good for live streaming. Now, I was mentioning earlier, I did early on when I first started doing coloring, live streaming. I I did a mandala, and all the colors were randomly selected by number by the people in the chat room. And that was pretty fun. So one day we'll do something like this, maybe not a Zen style, but we'll still do a picture where everybody in chat picks the colors. And we'll just use them randomly as they come up.
you've ever seen?
Exactly.
I'll take it.
Okay, Thomas, enjoy the swimming. That sounds like fun. Thanks for coming by, hanging out. I wonder how many different colors it would actually take to do this picture. I may not have enough. I don't really know. Because I've got these little small areas right here I'm going to be doing next, just right here on the front. And I don't have any colors pre-picked. I know that from a technical standpoint, I probably have enough colors, but it just doesn't seem that way. I look over there and I see a bunch of the same colors I've already used. I was saying earlier, like I see color, I see blue, red, green, yellow, brown, I don't see 32 different shades of blue. I mean, I know the difference between light blue and dark blue, but all these separate little shades, that's very difficult for me. I don't know if anybody else has that kind of issue. I don't know that it's an issue, it's just how I am. I will say that most of the stuff I color, it's not until I'm done and I go back and look at it, and then normally I'm kind of like surprised because I will be happy with the way that turned out. I do. I have colors that I will use. Well, not on the. I'll try not on this. I try not to use repeat the same colors too many times. But like on regular illustrations, I have colors that I like to use for my greens, for my yellows and oranges and stuff like that. I have particular colors that I like to use. And like I said, I still have a lot of colors that I haven't used. Oh, speaking of chartreuse green, I've got to get me another Prismacolor chartreuse. I just recently started using that, and I've used an entire pencil already. That color actually uses it disappears fast. Parrot green and lime green. Now, Sherry, do you use one on top of the other, or do you butt them together and blend them? Okay. I'm going to write those two colors down just because I want to see what they look like together. Now, I'm kind of like that, Sherry, with Prussian green and apple green. I use those two together all the time. And then I finish it with a lemon yellow or chartreuse, or there was a light green, but basically chartreuse or lemon yellow I like to use as the third color in that blend.
I mean, come on. It's the first place I look.
Meet 410 miles of range. Meet William.
Oh, I might should have used this color right here for that window. Well, I'll worry about the glass later. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with glass. With lime peel. Okay, I'm going to write that down so I can try that. I have not used that combination. I normally I will finish with a lemon yellow. Lime peel. I have heard of that color. I have not used it. So I will try that also because I am wanting to expand like my palette, so to speak. Because like, for example, let me show you guys something. In this sunflower picture that I just did, because I'm trying to, if I can find it. Well, there it is. Like these sunflowers, these are all 4 color blends. So I use 4 colors. On this one up here, I use 5 colors. But I'm trying to expand. So I will have like maybe what I would like to have is maybe like this. You just have to imagine all of these are in like the same family so we can blend them all. But I would like to have like a palette of maybe like 11 colors. So that if I want to use 4 colors, I can move back and forth up and down this scale and pick out any 4 colors. Does that make sense? So that way we get varying shades also within this by using, and that's what I did over here on these flowers. I had 5 colors So I use four, then I use different four and different, you know what I'm saying? So I don't have the exact same color in every picture, but they are, or in every part of it, but they are all the same color group. So I'm still working on learning how to expand that color group. Well, thank you, Tani. And this book too, Cottage Core. This is a book that Sherry gave me. And I did another picture in it too. That was the first picture I did in this book. But anyway, about the only colors I've been good at being able to kind of get good color combinations is in the yellows and oranges. I have trouble with browns and blues and reds, even the greens. Well, the greens I kind of got a little bit, but all the other colors, blues, reds, uh, purples, browns, I have a real hard time with that. Thank you, Michelle. I don't know how you guys are. Let's look at this right here for a second because this area right here is a real difficult kind of thing for me to color because it's just this wide open blank space. And to try to make the color be even is very hard for me. So I do like to have a little bit of detailed line work. It just helps me as far as where to put color. Now, unfortunately, the image on my phone screen here, my camera screen, is a little bit different, positioned a little bit differently than what it shows up on my laptop. A dirt road would not be a bad idea. I kind of like that because we are kind of cruising through the hills, aren't we? Hey, wellness. How are you? Okay, so I am assuming that coloring with wellness is Marcia. Yes, I gather that is correct. Hi, Marcia. Welcome to the channel. Well, it's nice to meet you, Marcia. Now I'm going to have to ask you, like I did everybody else, when you see a van like this, what's the first thing you think of? Okay, that's a good answer. That is a good answer. That's the first time somebody's gave me that answer. But I have thought about that too because now most of us, some people said Scooby Doo, others, myself included, said the Partridge Family. And then I was just sitting here thinking, I am a little bit surprised that nobody said Woodstock. And you just kind of hit on the fringe of that with hippies. But I was just sitting here thinking, I wonder how come nobody said Love Child or Flower Child or something like that. Woodstock. I think it does. Yeah, well, like I said, I'm pretty much like everybody else, other than Marcia. And my thought was Scooby Doo and Partridge Family. Partridge Family number one. And I could easily fall into the category of hippie too, guys. I could. And Marcia, I will tell you that I do my coloring live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. However, there are times when I do not feel well. I cannot be here. So all I do is give a start time. And if I'm going to be on that day, that's what time I will be on. Dee Dee, it's interesting that you say you refer to yourself as a hippie because At one point, I would refer to myself as a hippie also. Even somewhat today, I still would. And yes, I would agree with your analysis for yourself because when I first saw your image and you were wearing your bandana and things like that for your story time, I thought, yeah, she would be one of my friends because she's a hippie. Yeah, to me, I get those kind of started kind of late. I start at midnight my time, Eastern time, when I do the PlayStation stuff. Well, not on Tuesdays, but my farming I do. Well, that's true, Dee Dee. I agree with that. That's why I say I still think of myself as a hippie in that in one sense anyway. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, was in the military by the end of the 70s. When I was in high school or even junior high school, it was platform shoes, bell bottom pants, and mini skirts for girls. And you are welcome. I don't even really think you can hardly find those anymore. I actually was looking for some vintage type stuff, and I really could not find bell bottoms, not like what I used to wear. And then, of course, I had to wear, like the pirate shirts with the balloon sleeves and stuff. Yeah, those were cool. Well, Dee Dee, I can tell you that girls these days would never get by with wearing skirts like they wore when I was in school. It's kind of unbelievable that at any point in our history, schools allowed that type of wear. That's pretty cool, Sherry.
As a health nut who loves dark chocolate, I like to leave little hints for Michael on things that I love.
Lauren really loves Ollie's, especially since it's so rich and creamy.
No sugar added, and the bar tastes this great. I'm obsessed.
You can plan the job, shop the job, and get it fast. Save time with the Home Depot Pro. Register today.
Oh, okay, Tadee. Well, yeah, no bell bottoms or mini skirts for you guys, that's for sure. Oh, no. I just kind of realized I've got a whole lot more color to do over here than I did on this side. So it's not going to work out evenly. Okay, Michelle. Okay, Tani. Hey, I'm glad you were able to find that book for a cheap price. Yes, thank you for coming. I got this phone, this camera phone, right here where I keep getting this thing. I got to, sorry guys. It keeps telling me I need to reposition the camera or reorientate the camera, but it really doesn't need to be reoriented. But anyway, I keep hitting my face right on it because it has to be right here in my way. Ah, I haven't done that in a while. Snapped the tip off my. We'll see you next time, Tani. Thank you for coming. It's a rainbow kittens. Danielle, how are you? Thank you. I'll be honest, I had to think about it for a second, but I got it. And you're welcome. I do try to remember people's names, but sometimes it is difficult because I have to learn two names for everybody. I don't think I want to use that color. I think I already did. Maybe. Danielle, I remember last time I asked you if you had told me your name was Ashley. And I had to stop and think. So, Danielle, when you see a bus like this, what's the first thing you think of? Well, okay, but that's not exactly what I meant. Oh, I better hold off on that color. I better wait. Let's get one of these colors. Yeah, like this one. Well, the first thing I always think of is the Partridge Family, if you're familiar with who they are, and then Scooby Doo.
The chicken or the
But we've had some other great answers in here
egg
too.
first? It's which comes with peanut butter. Duh.
But hey, if you see a van that looks like this and it has that name on the front, yep, you think about me.
Desire for more turns into more bills, more debt, and less joy for the things that truly matter. Premier keeps it simple, so you can focus on more of what you need. Premier Bank Card, the power of simplicity.
Using a lot of new colors today, guys. Yeah, that is a good thing. Yeah, there we go. All right, we got the front done, except for the windshield. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. I probably should do it like a real pale blue, maybe. Let's put just a light blue on this glass. But very, very light. Can't even hardly see it. Actually, I can't hardly see it. I just barely touching the paper. And then I'll have to come back and probably do something with this. But I don't really know how to do glass. So I'm just putting a very, very light coat. I doubt you guys could even see it. But I can see it. But I can barely see it. I could always come back and put a little bit darker color in just to give a little bit of shadow if I want to. I don't know that I'll do that. Might not need to. I'm just going to light little bit of color. That's not bad right there. That's not bad. Very light blue. Little indication of glass. I like that. I think I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the sides. I was thinking about tinting these to make them darker, but I think I like the way this turned out. So I think I'm just going to do these other windows the very same way, just real lightly. Or maybe I'll just do this one that way, and we'll do the other ones a little bit differently, maybe. I don't know. You can see I'm holding real far back on the pencil, just so pressure stays very, very light. I think that's perfect. I like that. I'm not I haven't, I don't know if I want to like maybe try to make the back windows a little bit darker. I think I will try to make them darker. So I'm just going to leave those two like that. I like that. That looks good. Now let's look at, uh, I was going to take a look at the tires right here, but I might want to start with, if I can find something a little bit lighter. I think maybe this one. Now I think I'll start back here on the back tire just because it's a little bit smaller. So if I don't like something, I can change it. I have to get something a little bit darker, I think. This might be okay. I can still come back with something a little bit darker even and go over the top of that. Okay, Dee Dee, good to see you today. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Fulfill is now made with Reese's peanut butter, but we swear it's still a protein bar. This is the story of how Pipe Drive can accelerate your business growth, streamlining the process when sales activities feel overwhelming. To help navigate your next move, Pipe Drive, driving business growth.
computing and storage team.
Now you'll notice on this picture, I'm not really worried about blending. Basically, it's all just solid color, single color stuff. We could do blending, but now we may come back and darken those up some at some point. If I can find a darker gray. Here's a darker gray. Maybe I could use this here. I actually did this a little bit backwards. I should have put that darker color under there so it looked like it was shadow. I don't think it'll hurt nothing that much though. Not really. Yeah, it would have been better if I'd have put that underneath. But that's okay. I don't think of everything until it's too late. I think it helps with that darker gray on there, but I do wish I had reversed these two, put that darker underneath the van so it looked more like shadow shading. But that's okay. It's fine. It just gives it a little bit, and I still may do something with the sidewall, but I don't know yet. I don't want to mess it up, so we'll just wait. I say that, and then I start putting, maybe there's a little bit of shadow under here too. So maybe we just darken this, just the very top of it now, not much. Just the top. We just want a little bit of a shadow. And this one we can't really see. Might be a little bit of shadow right there at the very top. Can't really see it though. So let's pull it down this way just a touch. Just a little bit of shadow that's right here. And we'll bring that down just a little bit this way, but not much. Just a little bit of shadow. Yeah, I think something like that. That's not bad. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for me for today. I've been streaming for almost 3 hours, so I'm getting pretty tired. I do want to try this right here, right quick, though. I have metallic silver, so I want to try it on this mirror just to see what it's going to look like. Marcia, it was really glad to have you with us today. I hope we'll see you again. Well, I don't, yeah, that does look metallic. I can see a kind of like a sheet on it. I think it's funny. I was just talking about like I wasn't doing the shading and just solid color. And then here I am. As soon as I say that, I start doing shading. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Okay, Danielle, Sherry, good, great to see you again. Thank you. Michelle, great to see you today. And we'll do it again in the next one, guys. Until then, God bless.